France over the Wallabies in something of a second half blitz, folks, in the Nations Championship. It finishes up 42 points to 26, with the Wallabies just scoring the one try in the second half. They were leading 21-12 at halftime. The French got the offload game going, and boy, did they get so much width. Like, apart from Nushi, who was the kind of man in the engine room doing all the stuff up the guts, it was Jalibert, it was Ndidier, and it was Atisogbe. Both the guys got on the try-scoring sheet as well. The wings just getting so much action. Fraser McCright was trying to tackle the house down, trying to win those turnovers, but it just wasn't enough. And I think they were kind of punished as well, the Aussies, for failing to really exit their own half in an effective manner. Give the French chances, they will eventually take them. I'll go through some of the key events and the stats, and you guys can let us know your thoughts before we head off to watch Japan take on the Irish. French got on the board pretty quickly. Miafu, the big unit, was able to power over from close range after our first TMO intervention. It didn't take long for the TMO to get involved into the game. He saw a high tackle on one of the French guys after the Wallabies had seemingly kind of got a bit of go forward after a big defensive set, but no. Back for the TMO, which is the right call, but I guess, I don't know. I was a bit like the Aussie commentators and hoping the play could just move on. But anyway, back for the right call, and the French go to work. They don't opt for a three. They want to go for the jugular. Miafu is such a big man to stop from close range, and in fact, the Wallabies could not. 7 points to 0 for France. But I thought the Wallabies had a pretty good reply. Brendan Pangamosa, who had to come on much earlier than expected with Josh Nasser failing an HIA, he got one in reply after France had been free kicked at scrum time and then penalty conceded at the breakdown. The Australians likewise not opting for threes. Very few of the teams opt for threes these days. The Argentinians are probably the most common to do it, but yeah, these teams both not opting threes. Pangamosa close range, so 7 points apiece. So the forwards getting on the board early for both sides. But yeah, one thing that was interesting about the Aussies is they were quite kind of happy at times to want to play the ball out of their own 22 and not go for a traditional kick exit. But sometimes it cost them. Like, they had a little play in their own 22 where they got it out and tried to dink it across to Tom Wright, but he got caught and had to kind of take the ball into touch, which gave France an attacking line-out play. And when they get the hands going, they can get things going very nicely, and they finish it with a dink through for the winger on debut, Grandidier, and he gets his first of two. It's kind of a BLBRA play, isn't it? I mean, they're not the first team to do that, but France do that a lot. They did it a little bit last week. We've seen other teams doing it this very week as well, but try time France, and I feel like that one, if you're looking back from Australia, maybe just kick long for touch. Is that against your DNA? It's a punishment for a failure of execution for a exciting kind of exit play, put it that way. So 12 points to 7, France are back in front. Tom Wright kicks a nice 50-22. Miafu gets a yellow card for the French for a high tackle on Valentini. I don't think that was his first kind of high tackle in the game. I thought there was one earlier that he was a bit lucky to get away with. But yeah, they took the chance, the Aussies, with the big unit in the bin. Why not try and hit them up front? Like, the French maul defense, without that 100 and however many kilos he is, 130, 140, I don't know how many kilos he is. He's a lot of kilos, and with that missing, you might as well go for it. I mean, there was a free kick after a couple of scrums had kind of been reset. Like, the Aussies, after the yellow card, called for a scrum, and it happens, I guess, too often when there's a yellow card that the team, it's not always the team, but you often think it's the team who got the player down, right? Take the scrum down. Like, the scrum resets the first time, and then the second time it gets free kick. So you've lost 2 minutes of your yellow card period right there. So the yellow card clock has gone down to 8 minutes. Pangamosa taps and goes, and then eventually McCright is able to power over. So without the big bulky frame of Miafu in the scrum or on the line for defense, you might as well go for it. They get that one, so 14 points to 12, and then another 50-22 for the Aussies. They were kicking him, and it was right again. Jorgensen went very close in the corner, but he just lost it. He just lost it as he was trying to dot it down. They went back for an advantage anyway. And why not go for the maul? Again, Meafu is still in the bin. And that works. Who gets over the line? It's McCright again. Cannon with a really nice take in the air. So maul dominance, 21-12. Things are looking pretty peachy for the Australians at that point. 21-12 is looking like a pretty decent game. You had some crazy helter-skelter moments as well, which maybe should have been a bit of a red alert of something that might be going to come for the Aussies as well, because like they had a big line break of their own, the Australians. But then when they try to kind of hack and kick through, the French immediately look to counter-attack back at them. And if not for Fraser McCright kind of taking the ball, sweeping back, I think they could have been in some pretty serious hot water. But France, from all that, were not able to score anyway. So signs potentially of things to come. But France go into the sheds certainly behind, but looking to play. The halftime stats, Aussie have had 53% possession. The French have had 59% territory. The French have had more run meters. The line breaks is 3-1 to France. And keep that in your mind, because that will explode in the second half. And they've not been offloading that much. Only 4 offloads from France in the first half. Spoiler alert, they get the offload game going certainly in the second. Second half starts, and honestly, the only thing keeping the Aussies in the lead, I feel like at the start, is Fraser McCright. He wins a couple of turnovers. He's making tackles just when it looks like they're again about to get forward. After a big defensive set, the TMO comes in and finds that Jorgensen has had a tip tackle. So they go back for that one. That's the kind of one that I wish they wouldn't go back for. The Aussie commentators were bemoaning it. I can kind of understand it because we've already moved on. You know, your heart's already over there. And then, like, bumping into your old ex, who you didn't want to see. There's a tip tackle. It's a tip tackle. It's not the most egregious tip tackle. He doesn't drive him into the ground, but he's above the horizontal. So it's a penalty. They slot it to the French through Luku. So 21 points to 15. I haven't given Luku any credit up until this point. Luku is the one who set up the Meafu try with a really nice pass. So Luku is leading the team well, is the French captain, but maybe that's a bit of momentum for France, and then they really start running. They just start running riot. Like, I don't know how Australia stopped the first kind of running riot attempt. Like, Tom Wright had a hell of a try saver. I forget who it was on. I feel like Nushi probably could have passed and they could have scored the French. And then Moefana, if not for slipping over, might have scored. There were multiple opportunities for France to score. They absolutely should have scored. The Aussies did remarkably well to hold them out. But it only lasted, I don't know, 3 minutes? Because not long later, Josh Canham, who's a good player, but it's becoming a bit of a penalty magnet, he gives away a penalty for a late shot as Intermac's trying to kick the ball clear. And that gives the French guys advantage. Moefana goes close again. Wright has another try-saving tackle, but he's pinged for not rolling away. So the French still go ahead and score anyway, and Tom Wright gets himself yellow carded. Grandier gets his second try for France. Not a bad debut for that man. You got some good wingers in France. Missed conversion, but 21 points to 20. It is absolutely game on now. And during the yellow card, France again just go to town. Australia with a poor exit. Just doesn't get the distance on it. Ryan Lonergan, line out maul. The maul is sacked, but Lamotte still has a big carry. And Intermac, when he sees a mismatch with a forward up against him, he's going to back himself. He's a veteran 10 up against the kind of debutant on 10 and Declan Meredith for the Australians. So the French go in front, 27 points to 21. And they're just a team on another level from even from before that, but from this point onwards, they're finding all kinds of mismatches on kick return. They are playing with absolute confidence. They are not looking to kick it to the Aussies. They want the ball. They want the Aussies to be struggling to exit. They want them to stay down their end. They're finding, I don't know, all kinds of width in their game as well. Virag is able to finish off one, which is kind of created by the backs, but it's finished by the forwards. 34-21. There's almost another. Atisogbe gets one pullback for the TMO. That TMO was actually in the frame at the time, so it didn't feel quite as bad. I swear it's not because it was against the French instead of against the Australians, but little 1-2 play with Intermac. Jalibert was very close, but it was forward, so they give that one a call back, but it doesn't really matter because, like, Aussies just can't get him. I mean, they got a scrum penalty, the Australians, but what can they do from it? Nothing. They get no momentum. They get obstruction on their own play. Obstruction. So they give away a penalty. The French opt for the 37-21. It's pretty much, I feel like it's pretty much game over. Like the Aussies absolutely need to score next. Tupou has a big break with Suaalii. Harry Wilson flies into the breakdown, so he concedes the penalty. And then, like, the ultimate one is on 72 minutes. Tom Wright just tries this kind of Hail Mary ripper pass out of nowhere. Not only does it not find the man, but it goes about a mile forward. So if you want to see how the sweet passing is done, you need to look for the French, because it ends up in an Atisogbe try. So 42 points to 21. It is becoming an embarrassing second half for the Aussies. They did score, I want to say, a consolation try, but more than just that, because it's a bonus point try through Jeremy Williams at the death from close range. So yeah, big French win, 42-26, emphatic. Like, honestly, apart from Nushi, I think it literally was the French top ball carriers were basically the outside backs. I've got the numbers there somewhere. It was Nushi had 17 carries, Atisogbe had 14, Jalibert had 13, Grandidier had 11, and Moefana had 10. So they're just getting really, really sweet width in the game. It's the way they were looking to play. Offload count, remember, it was 4 at halftime, 14 by full time. So 10 offloads in the second half. Remember I mentioned line breaks was 3 for France at halftime? It's 12 by full time. France were a team possessed in that second half. Defenders beat 28-22 to the French, and they dominated the territory, 58%. Like, the Aussies had the possession, but it was on the wrong end of the field. So, yeah, you got to give credit. I mean, McCright is still a man possessed. 19 tackles, couple of turnovers, won. This score is arguably a lot worse without Fraser McCright, but the French wingers getting a couple of line breaks each, Moefana getting line breaks, and they probably could have had more points. But yeah, discipline wasn't, like, there were a couple of discipline moments for the Australians. It wasn't as big an issue as it was last week, but it still remains a problem. And, like, yeah, guys like Gazzotti, top tackler of the game, you know, he's not one of the guys that gets the big name on the billboard, the likes of an Aldred or an Olivon or the other guys just yet, but he's a good player, man, and as it proved in this one. You guys let us know your thoughts on the game. Where do the Aussies go from here? How decent is this French team looking? But anyway, you guys take care, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. Later.